Hello and welcome to Matt Chambers Connects, a podcast hosted by Matt Chambers. This is the podcast that transcends boundaries, empowers cross-cultural connections, and fosters a more connected world. I'm your host, Matt Chambers, and I invite you to join us on this quest to expand our understanding and build bridges between my two favorite places on the planet, Latin America and the United States. I've been traveling, living, and doing business in Latin America for nearly 2 decades.
So how's everything going down there in São Paulo? How's the weather right now?
Oh, right now
it's raining, right?
Now it's kind of drizzling right now, but like a few minutes ago, it was raining cats and dogs. So, check this out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And,
That's the only negative. That's the only negative with São Paulo is, São Paulo, it just rain. The weather's weird, right?
Yeah. It's crazy here in São Paulo. That's why I decided to, buy a house in Porto Seguro. And you know what? Next time you come to Brazil, I want you to be there with us. It's going to be a pleasure. I'm sure that you are going to have so much fun. And one of the reasons that I decided to get away from São Paulo, it's because of the weather. And
are you going to go up there to live? You're going to end up taking your business up there too?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm here in São Paulo right now. It's my office here in São Paulo, my studio here in São Paulo. Here is where Lu and I, my wife, I think you know her. We try to come up with, strategies and ideas to create content, to sell things and produce people. And that's what we do here. But one of the reasons that I decided to get away from São Paulo is just because of the weather,
Yeah.
And as you know, in Porto Seguro, Bahia, Brazil, the weather is warm and hot most part of the year.
And it's an amazing place. It's a slower pace of life. Yeah, man. Bahia. Wow. I mean, I never in my life thought I would go to Bahia. In fact, I didn't ever really know about it. And then I started reading about Brazil prior to flying down to Rio, like every other American does, right? Like every other foreigner flies into Rio, they take a picture with Jesus and a couple pictures and they say, oh, I went to Rio. Or I went to Brazil. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of went to Brazil.
I think that everyone wants to go to Rio because it's pretty famous. No matter where you are,
it's awesome.
Rio is pretty famous in the world, right?
For sure. And it should be, right? I mean, Rio's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful in every way.
I like it.
I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's my favorite place in Brazil. Every time when I get some free time, Lou and I, we go to Rio because it takes just like 5 hours driving from São Paulo. And it's just less than an hour flight. So every time we get some free time, we go to Rio. We love Copacabana. I think that you've been to Rio, right?
I spent a lot of time in Rio.
Yes.
Months there.
But I'm curious about something. Like, I remember that you told me that you really loved being in Bahia. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say Bahia? What is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I just think that there's two different ways there's many ways to experience Brazil, right? Brazil's massive. And so I think if you've never been to Brazil, it's easy to just think about Rio and this beautiful Rio de Janeiro that you've seen, these beautiful photos of, Sugarloaf Mountain, Christ the Redeemer, and all these beautiful things. And you think that is Brazil. And I experienced that. I absolutely love Rio. I had a great experience there. There is no more beautiful city than Rio.
Yeah.
I've never been to a more beautiful city. I just think as a foreigner, being able to go to Bahia, which is Salvador is the original Brazilian city. Like the Afro-Brazilians, when they arrived in Brazil. I think that
Salvador represents Brazil in so many ways.
It does. No, I absolutely agree. And then when you start learning about Capoeira and what that meant to Brazil and what that martial art did to change the culture and the whole dynamic in Brazil, I mean, I just think there's so much, right? And then the slower pace of life in Bahia versus São Paulo versus Rio de Janeiro, like all that.
Did you notice that the quality of life is way better than here in São Paulo and Rio?
You think it's better in São Paulo than in Rio?
No, I mean, in Bahia, I think they have a better quality of life because the way they live,
question.
the way they face, life itself. It is São Paulo. As you know, São Paulo is the financial center of Brazil, and people are always trying to get more and more. The more they want, the more they have, the more they want. But in Bahia, for some reason, people are trying to, focus on a better quality of life, and I really like it. That's why I decided to have a house in Bahia. By the way, be my guest. Next time you come to Brazil, we got to come to Porto Seguro, and we're going to experience the city.
I can tell you, man, don't make that offer unless you're serious, because I will take you up on that.
I really mean it.
Yeah. I met some great people. I spent almost 2 months in Bahia, in Salvador.
Yeah, I remember. You told me that.
Yeah. And man, it was great. I met some great people. I'm still in touch with them. I talk to them all the time.
People are pretty friendly in Bahia, isn't it, man?
Amazing.
People are pretty friendly in Bahia.
They're friendly all over Brazil.
Yeah. But you know what? As a Brazilian, I was born and raised in Brazil. I was born and raised in São Paulo, Brazil. Like I said, every once in a while, when I get some free time, I go to Rio because I like Copacabana. I like to see the beauty. Rio is beauty by nature. It shows. However, there is something special in Bahia. There is something unique in Bahia.
I agree. No, I agree. Absolutely. I had a great time there. And
let me tell you a secret. I love Bahia because I met the love of my life in Bahia. So that's why I'm telling you that.
That's why I keep telling you, I want the love of your life to hook me up with some of our friends there.
All right. You got it. There we go. I got you.
I told you, man. I love those
let's work on it.
I love those Afro-Brazilian girls. The Afro-Brazilian girls with the furry lion manes hair.
Yes.
Like that.
And I love it. I love it. And they are everywhere. Yeah. No matter where you are, you can just meet people just like you are, you're saying right now. I love Brazil. You know how much I love the US, because one of the reasons that I'm here right now talking to you, I told you already, but I'm going to tell it again. Being able to speak English with you right now is just like a dream come true. And one of the reasons that I have what I have, it's because of your country, because American culture, because a long time ago, I decided to learn how to speak English. And now I know how to use it as a tool of prosperity in my life. I love the US.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I noticed that among Brazilians in general, there was just this love for American culture, but let's talk about your business and your journey and how you ended up learning English and how that's impacted your life so far.
All right, let me get it off my chest, because it really gets me emotional, because you know what? Like I said, and I speaking from the heart, speaking from the guts. Every little thing I have, every little thing I got, it's because of English. It's because the culture of your country. And I remember that when I was a child, I used to spend all day long playing soccer on the streets, dreaming of becoming a soccer player. But it didn't work out. And then I remember that I used to spend all day long. I didn't have money. I didn't have anyone to teach me. I didn't have anything but hope. And I remember that I used to watch American movies. I used to watch movies, and I used to feel like, man, I need to turn my life around. But how can I do that? Because I was completely broke. No money, no opportunities, but hope. And then I decided to learn English on my own. I remember that I used to spend all day long trying to memorize the Beatles songs. So I can say that my first teacher was John Lennon.
The Beatles. Awesome.
And man. I used to spend all day long. I bought an album, Let It Be. You remember this one, Let It Be?
I do.
And I remember to spend all day long trying to memorize the words and the sounds coming from John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and I used to write things down, and then I started out to learning, and it's been the same way. So English, I can say, I mean, speaking from the guts, that English has changed my life in so many ways,
Yeah.
and that's what I do for
And
a
that
living.
seems to be that. Yeah, I know. And that seems to be what your goal is in Brazil, right? I mean, all the content that I see, and when I met you in the building, we were both staying in Perdizes, and you were shooting content every day with your wife and all that. We got to know each other. That seemed to be the impact, the thing that you were most trying to do, right? Was to show Brazilians how impactful English had been for you and why they should take it seriously.
And you know what, Matt? That's what I try to do. Because, I believe that we can, do something. I know, I want to be like someone who can show people that it's possible. I mean, I want to represent, like I said, I was born and raised in a very poor city in Brazil, no money, no opportunities, but hope. So every time when I turn on the camera, I try to show people that it's possible when you focus on things or something that you really believe in. So I just want to represent possibility. I want to represent that something different can happen. But most important, they've got to believe that something different can happen. If I am right now here talking to you, I want to show them that it's possible to do the same thing. I need people to know that English has changed my life in so many ways, and they can learn and do the same thing, because it's hard for me to believe that, you've been to Brazil before and you like Brazil and everything, that, most of
I don't like Brazil. I love Brazil.
Whether you believe it or not, only 1% of the whole population know how to speak English. Come on.
1% of the population of Brazil.
1%. 1% of the whole country.
So you got about English. 20 million, 2 million people, right? 2 million people.
And there are so many opportunities out there. So we need to do it. We need to learn how to do it. So that's what I want. I want to represent possibility. I want to represent that something different can happen, because I love my country.
How have you been able to do that so far, right? What kind of impact have you had so far? Can you give some examples maybe of some clients that you've had?
Yes. Oh, I have lots of clients here in Brazil, and they usually come to me because they want to learn English. They are sick and tired of taking English classes. And one of the things that I try to share with them is the importance of believing. It's the importance of, having the guts to face a guy like you. Because you know what? It really gets me emotional, because in a positive way, because every once in a while people come to me here in Brazil and they go like, Fabio, I've been working on my English for a very long time. However, when it comes to speaking English with a native, it's just like, man, I don't know how to do it. And I get stuck. And I know that the problem is, it's not a linguistic problem. It's totally emotional, because they are afraid of making mistakes. They are afraid of, a lot of things. And it doesn't have anything to do with, linguistic issues or things like this. Yeah. And that's what I do for a living. I mean, that's what
You're helping them. You're trying to instill confidence in people to where they'll go out and just throw things out there. Because I think as a language learner myself, we would both agree that the only way to learn, well, maybe the only way to learn anything in life is to get out there and try and screw up.
Yes,
like make mistakes. I meet all these people in my life.
Mistakes are the best way to go.
They're like, don't make mistakes. Let's not make any mistakes. And I'm like, you're fucking stupid.
Yes,
because making mistakes is the only way I'm ever going to get it right.
There was a little something there's a little something that I read. I don't know where, but I think it was written by Albert Einstein, which says, show me a person who has never made a mistake before, and I show you someone who has never tried anything new and probably lives a bored and scared life. I mean, no one is perfect, so we are not supposed to be. We are here to learn from each other. And that's the beauty of learning anything in life. Like you, when I first met you, I was like, come on, does he speak? I don't believe it. He speaks Portuguese. Does he? And, you did a great job.
I was speaking a little bit. I was trying my best to learn, and you know, I mean,
you're ready to go. You're ready to go. You're ready to start it over.
I think
you're ready to start your life over in Brazil with no problem at all.
No, I would have no. I love Brazil. I hope that I can live. I just told my friend today. I just was texting my friend in São Paulo about something, and I said to him, I'm like, man, you know, my goal would be for the rest of my life if I could just go back and forth between Miami and Brazil. My life would be good. I could get to 80 years old. I'm ready to die and I'm happy.
Yes.
If I could just do Miami, Brazil for the rest of my life.
Because you know, how old are you?
It really had an impact on me.
How old are you?
40.
Okay. I'm a little bit older than you. So I'm in charge right now. As you know, and everybody knows, life is too short. So there is no time to waste. There is no time to waste. Being happy is my responsibility. Being happy is your responsibility. No matter where you want to go, just do it. That's what I've learned. I've been through a lot of things in my life. There were good times and bad ones. And throughout the years, I've realized that happiness is one of the most important things in life.
Number one.
It's number one. So like I said, and I'm going to tell it again, I'm willing to do what it takes to bring you to Brazil. And we got to do something together, do business together, because it's going to be a pleasure to have a friend from the US, you know, being around, hanging out, and do all the things that we love doing here in Brazil.
Let me add a little something, only because I want to tell a little bit about my language learning story, just so that your clients and the people listening get a little bit of perspective. And it proves your point about getting out there and just making mistakes and throwing things out there. And then eventually you learn. I had a short stint in Venezuela where, you know, I learned a little bit of Spanish, and to me, I thought I was fluent. I was like, oh my God, I'm fluent in Spanish. I was not fluent, by the way, but I thought I was.
But it gets by pretty well.
Yeah, I was getting by pretty well, right? And then so I go to Argentina. I had learned some more, and I go to Argentina after like a 2-week vacation. And I'm like going down there, you know, this like cocky American guy. I think like I speak Spanish, like the locals. I swear to you, Fabio, man, every single, at least 80% of the food I ordered, I got the wrong thing. So I would order like, I thought I was ordering spaghetti, and I would get like a hot dog, right? Something completely off base. And it was because they didn't understand what I actually wanted. So the Argentinians, they're not quite as nice as some of the other Latinos, and especially not the Brazilians. Yeah. So they'll just bring you whatever the hell they want. And you know, they'll even ask you. And so then when I left that trip, I was so pissed. I was like, I freaking hate Argentina. Like, you know, you could order whatever food you order, they just bring you the opposite and they make you take it, right? I was blaming it on them. I thought it was their fault, right?
All right.
And so then fast forward, you know, and I lived in Colombia for a long time, had business there and all that. And so I became pretty fluent in the language.
Okay.
And then last year, right after you met me, I went over to Argentina for about 2 months. And I realized that everything I ordered, you know, 10 years later came to me just exactly like I ordered it, because I'm now speaking the language. I'm fluent in the language. So when I look back on it, it hit me while I was in Argentina like a year ago. I'm like, oh, it was me screwing up the whole time. It wasn't their fault, right? And so when I look back on my language learning journey, the way that I learned was just maybe thinking that I was better at it than I was. And that confidence forced me to go out there and just act like I knew what I was ordering all the time. Act like I was like confident in these conversations. When in reality, I was screwing it up 90% of the time. But the ability to tell myself how good I was at it was a lie.
Yes.
But I would just keep lying to myself about how good I was.
Yeah.
And so just keep going and going and going and going. And now, you know, years later, you know, I'm definitely fluent in the language now. And so I'm hoping that little tidbit's an inspiration, and I hope that it proves the point you were trying to make about just getting out there and making mistakes. Because, you know, there's going to be a lot of people listening that say, oh my God, I don't want to go down there and order a hamburger and get spaghetti. That sucks. I want a hamburger if I order a hamburger. I don't want to mess up. But that's the whole fun in the journey, right? Is going out and screwing up and laughing at yourself and trying it again.
Yeah, I know what it feels like. Everybody's been there before. Come on. And I think that, you know, it's part of the process. You've been through the same thing. I've been through the same thing. So I think the most important and the most beautiful thing here is that we can talk to each other. I was born and raised in Brazil. You're born and raised in the US, and we are here. We are, we get along pretty well. I really, I really get along with you. I really look up to you, and that's the most important thing. And even though sometimes it's hard for me to express exactly what I'm feeling here deep inside, but I give it a try. I try to do my best. And we know that it's a process. But I'm curious about something. How was your experience in learning Portuguese? Because there is a huge difference between English or Spanish and Portuguese. Even though Americans, they think that we speak Spanish. I don't know why.
Same thing, yeah.
Tell me about it.
I know. Well, I'm a pretty well-traveled American. I've done, about 30 countries, I guess, in total.
How many countries have you been to?
About 30.
Wow.
About 30.
You've been around.
And I would say that for sure what you're saying is true. I mean, most Americans think, Spanish, I can use my Spanish in Brazil. They went to Mexico for a week to Cancun. They're like, oh my God, I'm fluent in Spanish. Now I can go to Brazil. Right. And so there's two screw ups with that. It's like when you go to Cancun, you don't really learn Spanish, number one, because you only went for a week. And it's a very Americanized vacation. I consider Mexico just to be an extension of the United States that happens to speak Spanish. And so that mentality of, hey, I'm going to use my Spanish in Brazil just doesn't work. But even me, as a person who had become fluent in Spanish, when I first went to Brazil, a lot of people had told me, they're like, oh, you'll be able to use your Spanish to get around. And although I knew the languages were very different,
they were lying to you.
I still bought into.
Hopefully, I think it's easier Spanish for you to speak English here than Spanish. I think that's what I think.
Especially in São Paulo, right? Yes. Like it's for sure, you can go to São Paulo and speak English all the time if you wanted. But I would say that I definitely arrived thinking that maybe my Spanish would help me at least defend myself. And it didn't work at all, but I wasn't actually trying either. Like as soon as I got to Brazil, when I was in the migration line, one of the migration officers said something funny to me. We started laughing very first minute. And then the guy who stamped my passport, he said something funny to me in English. He smiles. And I'm like, man, I've done a lot of traveling and I think I'm in the right place. These are my kind of, from the first minute. And so then my first 30 days in Brazil, no one understood anything I said.
Wow.
I didn't understand anything they said. And it just kept getting better, as you know it does, right? The process. The longer you stay, the longer you try, the better you get. But I would say, I got to a point in the 8 months I was there. I wasn't spending a lot of time on the language because I was busy with everything else. I definitely got to a point where I could have basic conversations and I was understanding more. And once you get to that point where you're understanding most everything, that's where your language skills grow, because once you understand how the locals communicate, and if you can humble yourself enough as an adult to realize that we basically need to become kids again.
Yes.
And just copy what everyone else says in order to become good at the language, then it's a faster process. So
I think that you are saying, learn like a baby, think like a baby, and act like an adult, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and sometimes maybe act like a baby too, right?
Yes. I do it all the time. I do all the time.
Yeah.
You're right.
I think it's important. So you have to get to that point where you're starting to understand. And when I left Brazil, number one, I didn't want to leave. Let me say that first. When I left Brazil, I was getting to the point where I was understanding.
You said left. And I got to let you know that my English is getting rusty since you left Brazil. The last night I was just catching up with my wife, and then I was like, what's wrong with Matt? Matt should be here in Brazil with us. Carnival is just around the corner. And, I love it. I love it. Have you ever been in Brazil during this period of time?
Oh, yeah. I was there last year. I was at Carnival last year.
You got to come back to Brazil. And then it was like, I need to hit him up because, there's a lot of things going on here. And I need to, put my English in the work. I need to work on
Back
my
on
English.
track,
So
right?
my English is getting rusty because of you. You left Brazil. So please come back soon.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. So let me ask you, I remember when we were there, you told me that Brazilians, from a business perspective, really respect American made products. And
Yes.
talk about me creating products for Brazilians in São Paulo and all that stuff.
We do appreciate everything you guys do.
Can you elaborate a little bit on, that thought process and what it is that most attract Brazilians to American mindset and product?
Wow. Good question. And, okay. First of all, we Brazilians, we appreciate the American culture. We like it. And,
What part of the culture sticks out?
I think that everything, because everybody's dreams out there is, learning how to speak English, to go to America, go to New York, go to Orlando, is to visit United States of America. People, they love spending their money on American stuff. They like to go to America to buy, products. But most importantly, we appreciate the way you guys live, the way you guys think. It's totally true. No matter where you are, if a friend come to me right now, he's going to tell you the same thing. He's going to say the same thing. We appreciate almost everything you guys do, and that's why I told you it's easier for you guys to come to Brazil and do business in Brazil, because we trust in Americans' products. We trust in American people. So, everyone here dreams of visiting the United States of America, do business with Americans, try to connect with Americans' company to bring to Brazil. So, we do appreciate the way you guys do business. I think that's the most important thing.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Let's do this.
For me, traveling Latin America for the last 18 years, I had never spent time in Brazil. And frankly, there's a part of me that's glad I never went to Brazil before. I'll tell you why. Because if I had gone to Brazil 18 years ago, I never would have left Brazil. I never would have gone to any other Latin American country. I would only know the United States of America, because Brazil, like I said a minute ago, Brazil was a place out of all the countries I've been to that the minute I landed, I knew I was at the right place. Now, do I think 100% of Americans would go to Brazil and say, "Oh my God, that's where"?
Did you notice?
No.
Did you notice how much Brazilians in general, they really like and love American people? When you tell them, "Oh, I'm from the US," they "Oh, really? What is it like to be an American? Tell a little bit more about the US. Come on, join us. Let's grab something to eat." Did you notice?
That's where I was going with it. With all my Latin American travels, I think there's a lot of places that you could go in Latin America, and people look at you as an American just as someone I can get money from, someone I can scam on a business.
Yeah.
Right. They're trying to get money from you. They're trying to scam you out of money, this and that. I did not get that impression in Brazil. I got this impression of a country full of people that in a perfect world would love to say, "Hey, come on, let's get together with the Americans. Let's just have a good time.
Let's have a good time together." Cool. We don't care.
That's what
we don't care about how much money you make, how much money you have. The most important thing is, I'm here with my buddy from the US. Wow, I'm feeling like a movie star. Let's get something together. Let's
grow together, right?
Together. That's what we feel about you guys.
And I think that what I felt in Brazil was that by nature, I think that's how I am, right? Because in the past, I was always that American, just me. Like, well, maybe by nature I wasn't like that, but I think the culture in the United States forces that independence.
I know what it feels like.
And I think I was always the person that in the past was trying to bring my buddies together to grow something together.
Yeah.
But because of the culture, you have these guys that are like, "No, I'll do it myself," and I hate that. And Brazil to me was like, "Hey, let's get together and let's help each other grow."
Yeah.
Right. Or even if we don't care about the business side, let's go grab a beer together. Let's go get some food together.
Yes.
Let's go do this. Whatever it is, let's get a group together and go do it. And I think
I don't know. I don't know.
That's human nature.
Yes.
That's real human nature.
I don't know.
Brazilians
if it makes sense to you, but here in Brazil, we say, I'm trying to put it in English. We do things with a child's heart. We do all the things with a child's heart, because I think this is the secret of, getting along with everyone. We do things with a child's heart.
No, I agree.
Because every time we have the opportunity to show you a little bit about the way we live, the way we feel, the way we connect with you guys, because we appreciate you guys, it brings us back to our childhood. I think that's the feeling. It's hard for me to express in English what I have inside, but it's basically what I'm trying to say. Every time we have the opportunity to treat you guys as a friend, as a brother from another mother, because that's the way we live here in Brazil, it brings me back. It brings people back to our childhood, and it makes me feel good. It makes people good.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say from my perspective as an American, given my opinion about how I felt in Brazil, I think that Brazilians live the way human beings really, truly want to live once they forget all the society bullshit.
Yes.
What I mean by that is, like, in the States, we can get caught up in this business, money thing.
Yes.
And then you don't care as much, but you don't hang out with your friends. You don't hang out with your family enough. Brazilians are just, everybody's going to do everything together as friends, as families, as business partners. It's beautiful, man.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, Matt, because that's what we do. That's the way we live. And like I said before, I think it's time, because we appreciate you guys. We love the US, American culture and everything. On the other hand, I am just, glad to hear that from you, because we appreciate the way we live. But like I said, it's time to bring the US and Brazil together, No,
I agree. To me, it just doesn't make sense why we don't do more stuff together. It makes absolutely no sense.
When I say the US and Brazil, I mean the people together.
It's the perfect connection.
You guys need to know what we have here. And we it's a little bit harder, because people here, unfortunately, they have a hard time understanding and speaking English. But we Brazilians, we need to know a little bit more about the way you guys feel about us. And I think that we can do it. We can do it, because communication is the most important thing. We need to get our message out. We need to, we need to let people know what we have in common.
I agree. Let me ask you a question before we go. What's the, as far as your teaching method, what have you done?
Oh, by the way, I'm not a teacher. I don't teach exactly. What I do is I usually, try to come up with some personal projects, focus on people's needs according to their needs and goals. And I try to come up with some strategies to, connect them with a guy like you. That's what I've done since then. And I also work as an interpreter and a translator. And this is one of the greatest opportunity I got.
Oh, scoot it over to the right a little bit. You're right. There you go. Oh, no. Oh, you're going to F1.
Yes.
When is that?
Oh, the first time was in 2018.
Oh, you're not showing it in the camera.
Can you see from that?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, 2018. Okay. Yeah.
And, I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it, because...
Where do they do that in São Paulo? Do they do it in Paredes in the stadium there?
No, it's F1.
Yeah.
It's in Interlagos.
Interlagos. Where's that?
2 minutes from the place I met you. 2 minutes. 2 minutes drive.
Oh, okay. It's right by Paredes.
Yes. 2 minutes away from Paredes.
Okay.
So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was something else in my life, because, when I first got there, I was like, I don't believe it that I'm here hanging out with Lewis Hamilton, all those guys. What am I doing here? What am I going to do here? And that was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what I do for a living. That's what I do for a living here in Brazil. I usually receive people from different nationalities here in Brazil. I try to, make it easier for you guys being here in Brazil and São Paulo, because unfortunately people think that here is dangerous or something like
That's
this.
crazy.
I think that you notice there is no problem here.
I just, I guess if you go looking for problems, you'll find problems, right? I would say that, in Rio, if you're going to go to Rio and wear a Rolex and do stupid stuff like Americans do, you're wearing your Rolex and you're going to be on your iPhone on the beach and wearing gold chains that you don't need. Yeah, you could get robbed in Rio, right?
Yeah.
I for sure think that on Ipanema, Copacabana, you definitely could have some problems. I wouldn't be hanging out at 2 a.m, flashing your money in Rio without a crowd. But São Paulo's so freaking big, man. Like if, you can do anything you want there. Like the chances of something happening to you out of 24 million people is pretty low.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it is.
And especially if you're not being stupid. But so in addition to the main cities in Brazil, most people, tourists, especially go to Rio, São Paulo for business. Shoot me some places, kind of off the beaten path that you would recommend to anyone listening that might be looking to come to Brazil and spend some time.
Well, Porto Seguro has been my favorite place here in Brazil. There was another place in Brazil. I don't know if you've been there before. Is Santa Catarina. Have you ever been to Santa Catarina?
That's in the south. That's Floripa, right?
Yes. Have you ever been there before?
I haven't. I just know the geography a little bit.
Wow. You got to go there. It's a beautiful city. It's a rich city. People are pretty friendly. There are so many good places to go, great restaurants. And one of the most beautiful things about Floripa, and there is a place called Balneário Camboriú. Have you ever heard?
I know they're promoting that as like the Dubai of Brazil.
Yes.
Did you know that?
That's true. That's true. I've been there before, and I went there with my wife, and we just loved the city. It's amazing. Now, every time we got some free time and we save some money, we go to Floripa. And listen, even though it's famous for being the new Dubai in Brazil, it's way cheaper than São Paulo. Believe it or not.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Believe it or not. There are
it's amazing.
Ferraris, Lambos, and, great cars all over the place. Huge.
And the food's cheaper than it is in São Paulo.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Twice as much. Yes.
Yeah, no, I've studied that place. I know about it.
Listen, next time you come to Brazil, we are going to go to Balneário together. Yes, we're going to do it together. I'm going to show you a little bit, I'm going to show you around. I have some friends there, so we are not supposed to spend money on hotels and everything. They have some apartments in the city, so we can just spend a little while up there.
Let's do it,
I'm
brother.
I'm a man of my word.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready. I want to get to know more Brazil. And it's funny. I had a conversation,
there, but I have good connections.
Let's do it, man. A couple of weeks ago, I was having a conversation with my mom, who I spoke with several times when I was in Brazil. And she says, of all the travels, she's talked to me in every country, every city I've been in pretty much, because I, speak to my mom often. And she says, you were the happiest in Brazil that I've ever seen you in your life.
Wow.
And she says, I definitely think that one day you're going to find your way back there full time.
Wow.
And I said, there's no question about it. If I stay alive, for,
listen to your mom. Listen to your mom.
Amazing place, man.
And I'm sure,
an amazing place.
And I'm sure that you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Like I said,
absolutely.
You can call on me no matter what, because I really look up to you. For some reason, we get along pretty well. And even my wife, she likes you. Every time we get together.
So, hey, if your wife likes me, can you tell her to get busy on getting me that beautiful Afro-Brazilian girl that I want?
You got it. There we go.
With the furry hair, man. I like something about that furry hair that I'm just like, man.
She knows what you are looking for.
I want my next girlfriend to have this hair, you know?
According to my wife herself, you got it. You got it. You are about to find the love of your life. You are about to get married to a Baiana.
I didn't say get married, but a girlfriend will be.
Yeah.
A girriend with furry hair would be nice.
Joking around. Yes.
Well, hey, brother, I appreciate you coming on today. We've had a great friendship the last 8 or 9 months, and I'm expecting that to continue. I really do. I admire your work, and I heard you say a couple of times you look up to me, you look up to Americans. But let me tell you, brother, I look up to you. I look up to Brazilians. I wish that I had that.
I appreciate it.
I wish I had that natural ability to just enjoy every minute of my life like you guys do, no matter what. So
listen to this old man here, because I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 45 years old, and I'm a father of 2, and I also have a grandson, and everything in time. Everything in time, because everything happens for a reason. So I think that's going to happen. We're going to find a way to make it. And we are here.
You're saying I'm going to get my Afro-Brazilian girl?
Sure.
With the furry hair.
It's in your heart. So it's going to happen. Once we put something in our hearts, it means that it's going to happen.
I love it, brother. I'm in.
Let me tell you something. When I was a child, it's been a long time. I'm getting old. And I remember, when I was like younger, born and raised here in São Paulo, but I remember that I used to watch, TV shows on TV, and I used to feel like one day I will find a Baiana and I'm going to, get married to a Baiana. I was living in São Paulo, and it took me over 20 years. And out of nothing, out of the blue, I met a girl on the internet, and I was like, wow, I want her.
I want that one.
I was like, my first thought was, wow. When I first looked at her, I was like, I want her to be the mother of my children. And I'm going to do it. I'll find a way to do it. And then, like, weeks later, I just sent her a message on Instagram. And then, boom. You know everything. We've been together.
You're telling me I need to stalk him on Instagram, searching in Bahia for all the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that strategy.
We've been together for almost 4 years, and it's just like a dream come true. I'm very happy, and I hope that you can make it happen as well. Let's work on it. Let's work on it. Anything is possible.
I'm in. Well, hey, brother, I enjoyed the conversation as always. And let me ask you before we finish up here, if people wanted to reach out to you for your services, or, just reach out to you on Instagram or LinkedIn or things like that, how would they do that?
And how long have we been here together?
45 minutes,
wow.
Something like that.
Time flies when you are having fun.
Absolutely.
If you want to find me, if people out there want to find me, just go on my Instagram page. It's at Fabio Luiz Rock. At Fabio Luiz Rock. I like it, this word, rock. Because you rock, awesome. I rock, and we need to rock together. Let's rock together. Next time we come to Brazil, we're going to rock together. So, Matt, I just want to thank you so much for having me over here today. I really appreciate it. It was an honor. So I hope I did a great job. Speaking from one man to another, I really look up to you. And next time you come to Brazil, please hit me up and just let me know, because I am a man of my word, and we're going to have a real good time in Bahia. And probably we are going to go to Balneário Camboriú, and it's on me. It's on me. It's on me.
Man, brother, I love it. I love it. I'll take you up on it, I promise. All right, brother. Good to see you. We'll be in touch.
That was nice talking to you, and I hope to see you again soon.
Appreciate it, brother. See you.
See you.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Matt Chambers Connects. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes where we'll dive deeper into these two fascinating worlds. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Matt Chambers Connects. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube Music, and many other major podcast platforms so you don't miss a show. Also, please join us on our social media channels so you can connect with other listeners and ask your most pressing questions. And also tell us what types of guests you'd like to see on the show. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.